Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Selectboard meeting for January 12th. First order of business is to adopt an agenda.
I move that we adopt the agenda as one.
Okay, motion and a second to adopt the agenda as one. Nobody has any additions? All in favor of the agenda as one, say aye.
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 Opposed, no one. Huh? Well. Here. Select board opening remarks. The only remark I would have is the same one I always have, which is that I hope that everyone within this room treats each other and the board with courtesy and respect as they talk. We'd love to have everyone participate in the meeting, but treating each other in a good manner is something that's certainly not going on very well in our country right now, and I expect it to go on in this room. So that's all I have for opening remarks. Anyone have anything else? Nope. Okay. Item 3. We have a newcomer here. Want me to introduce him? Okay. Standing up and coming forward is Paul Samataro, and our police chief. Paul is our new lieutenant, and he's been here maybe about a month, part-time more or less, and getting his feet wet here in town. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I look forward to working with everybody here, and we started off great, and we're going to continue. So thank you again, and look forward to talking to everybody soon.
Very happy and lucky to have all of us on the department. So
Yes.
And I'm glad you're feeling better.
I am. Don't get flu A. That's all I can say.
Yeah. So I've been told.
Yeah, it's terrible. But anyways, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep. So Paul was the result of a 1-year search for a lieutenant, and we're very, very happy to have him and all of the knowledge that he brings to Brandon. So that's great. Find a couple more officers, and we'll be right back to where we should be.
Find him somewhere.
And I would just like to say, Beth and I sat in on one of the interview rounds with Paul. We're both very impressed with him in terms of his experience and his presentation. It was one of those fun interviews where you get hit with kind of weird, tough, what would you do in this situation questions. And, we were very impressed with his responses. And, I think he's going to be a good fit for the town.
Very good. Well, I appreciate that.
Very excited.
It means a lot to me.
just for the community's awareness, Paul comes to us from another Vermont law enforcement agency. He's had a long history of working in Vermont in small towns. He understands what small communities are looking for in policing, and we know he's going to be an excellent fit here in Brandon. So thank you.
Thank you, Seth. Appreciate it.
How many years of experience do you have in Vermont doing police work?
In Vermont since 2016, and then New Hampshire and Massachusetts another 30 years combined. So
Perfect.
yeah, been around that.
Well, thank you very much for joining our town.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
That was helpful.
Next is item 4, possibly a consent agenda for minutes and liquor licenses. Pleasure of the board.
I'll move that we move items 4A through E to a consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, a motion to move all of item 4, A through E, as a consent. All in favor? Say aye. Aye. Okay, now to actually vote for it. Now vote in favor of A through E. Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I probably do that wrong, but whatever. Item 5, reports from the select board. For Mr. Hopkins first.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey, members of the board, members of the public, folks on Zoom. Thank you. I submitted my report in advance, but I just want to highlight 2 or 3 things and then give you a little bit of an update. I do want to highlight for the whole community that the select board will be hosting a pre-town meeting for all Brandon voters and interested residents on Saturday, January 31st at 11 a.m. at the town hall. The purpose will be to present the fiscal 27 budget proposal to the community before early voting starts. There are now 3 properties removed from the tax sale. They've cleared all of their arrearages, penalties, and the legal fees associated with the sale. Those properties are 89 Furnace Road, 225 Furnace Road, and 16 Carver Street. For the board has inquired of this a couple of times, and I have followed up, and finally we got some answer. After an inquiry to them some time ago, the town has received $1,500 as a cleanup payment from the state for local approval of cannabis licenses. But as you know, the state has placed a moratorium on further retail licensing, so this may be the end of active days for our local commission, at least in terms of new licenses. We haven't had a renewal come to us in quite some time either. And the last thing I would highlight is an update. The equalization study has arrived, and it's poor. So this is the town's notice every year of where our grand list is in relation to reality, right? So at this point, Brandon's common level of appraisal is 61.86%, which means we're undervaluing all of the properties in town by a third, based on what their market value is. The coefficient of dispersion has actually narrowed a little bit. That's how out of whack the range is, and that's just under 20% at this point. The state average adjustment is 70%, 70.33, which means, again, most towns are in the same boat that Brandon is in. Most towns' grand lists are 70% of actual market value. Ours is 61. So what they do now is, instead of fooling around with CLAs and all this kind of stuff, they apply the statewide adjustment to your common level of appraisal. So because the average appraisal in Vermont statewide, because we're talking about statewide education property tax, because the average appraisal is at 70% and ours is at 61, they apply it, and we turn out to be, we have to have this applied to get it 87.96. So there will be adjustments based on that number that will affect the school tax. They don't affect the local property tax. The local property tax, the town tax, is still based on the town's assessed value. And it just means, in our case, that because the assessed values have held steady for so long, the rate has to increase to raise the same money. So we're in the process of, we have an order to reappraise. And we are working with our assessing folks to go out. We believe at the town office, and I think the board would support this, we believe that it's a significant enough investment and a significant enough process that it should not just be awarded to our in-house assessor. We should go out to bid. That's that update. And just for your preparation, at the next select board meeting, we will need to ask the select board to finalize the town meeting warning. A couple of articles from the floor this year, and the highway mileage certificate should be coming into the select board but there won't have been any changes.
Do you need select board action to go out to bid for the assessors, or is that something?
No, I think you actually authorized me when we got the order letter.
Questions of the town manager by the board? I would only like to highlight again, what that started with was the pre-town meeting. And just want to shout it loud and clear. Saturday, we listened to people say that all of our meetings are always at a weeknight, and families with kids can't get there and whatever, and suggested we try a weekend. And so that's why we are trying a Saturday at 11 a.m. to be very different than our other town meeting. So it will be very interesting to see how that shakes out. So
We still will have.
we
the
will still
traditional
have
town
our
meeting. Yep.
traditional town meeting. The reason of a pre-town meeting is for anyone that wants to get a jump on it, or people that are getting their mail ballots and filling them out before town meeting. So now questions for the town manager from the public. Jan Coach.
Could you tell us how many licenses have lapsed for cannabis? if you
Um,
don't have to tell me now.
I don't have it off the top of my head, but
Maybe
I
mention
think
it
we
at the
could get
next-
that info from the State Cannabis Commission. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wondered, because we had like 5, didn't we have 5?
Oh, the
stores?
retail licenses. I don't think any have lapsed.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they issue, the select board has to approve licenses for operations that are cultivation or manufacturing, all those kinds of things. Those haven't really been kept super close track of because, I mean, it's all done through the state. So when somebody wants to grow or manufacture or retail, they apply to the state. They don't apply to the town. The state then says to the town, someone in your town at this address wants to do this or that. The local commission review the application, and that's when it comes to them. So I think essentially we wouldn't be getting renewal applications directly. They would come through the state. But we can check with them and find out
I was just
what's
curious.
active. Yep.
Yep,
Yep.
next meeting is fine.
Yep. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, Brent Bueller.
Thank you. On the development of the website,
Yes.
is that limited to kind of what you have listed here as far as agendas, minutes, or will it include the community calendar we've discussed and some
So
things like
Bill
that?
might be able to talk better about the calendar because he's been involved from the get-go on that.
So the community, there will be a community calendar that'll have all the fantastic events that the various branded organizations puts on. That will be housed at the brandon.org website for marketing purposes. They charge you more for each one time the other calendars. The new website will have a meetings calendar that's specific to all the meetings that are happening in town, and that sits right on the front page. So
Great.
So there'll be kind of two separate.
Okay. That's what I was curious about. And then also, maintaining websites is the biggest challenge, especially community news and meetings and things. So I'm sure you'll work it out.
So we're going to train this week, actually. Bill and I, and hopefully Sue Gage, the town clerk, who would normally, that would be a good job for the town clerk to kind of be aware of. So I think the three of us are going to sit in on this. There's 2 1-hour sessions that we have to do to learn how to post agendas and minutes and also manage the subscription lists and things like that. Because people will be able to just say, here's my email address. I want all the agendas for this board or whatever. Be able to get it.
Okay. Folks can post events as well, or that's a front porch forum thing that'll just kind of.
So that will be something more that goes towards the brandon.org calendar,
Okay.
and that'll have a submission page where people can enter stuff in, and then Bernie or
Right. Okay. And then the last thing is, as I read the paper and I see all these towns having 7, 9, and 11% tax increases, I want to thank you all for the hard work you did on keeping ours at the rate it's going to be. So thank you.
Having seen the same articles that you're referring to, Seth and I mentioned it today. It seems like I should be certainly easy to pass, but then again, I will never say it's going to pass, but with 2.427. And we did a lot of hard work, and I thank the people that came to the meetings for that. Okay, moving on. If there's no more questions, the town manager on his report, we move on now to community development. Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Doug. It's my report for today, the 12th, 2026. The Brandon Town Hall is getting very busy this winter. Thanks to our friends at Mountainside Flooring for the second of their 3 years of floor refinishing post-installation that they had wrapped into the bid. They just did it this past, and you can probably still smell a little whiff of it as you're walking around.
Oh, that's what it is.
That's what that smell is. Polyurethane. And it looks great. Next Stop Comedy and Foley Brothers are partnering to bring us a night of comedy on January the 17th. The tickets are available at the Next Stop Comedy website. That'll be upstairs. The Green Mountain and Finger Lakes National Forest is hosting a public meeting on Wednesday, the 21st. The Vaccine Dilemma is a moderated discussion being hosted upstairs on the 22nd, January 22nd, with a panel of medical professionals in the upper level of the town hall, again on January 22nd at 7 p.m. A group of concerned citizens has organized this free event with the intent of offering medical information about vaccines and diseases from 3 local doctors and 1 professional nurse practitioner. A question and answer session will follow the presentations. The event will be moderated by Brittany Carr and filmed on PEG TV, my PEG TV. Dance with Miss Michaela starts back up on January 27th. From littles to adults, you guys want to learn to dance. There will be offerings 3 days per week until their May show. Not mentioned in my printed report, but in my oral report, I want to thank Otter Valley has really gotten behind having a great intern program. And we have 2 interns that have been with us this fall. They've done great work for us. They've learned a lot about what it's like to be in the town offices. They've performed a lot of free labor, which has been great, as far as setting up chairs all the way back. But I want to thank those young people, and they actually happen to be the president and vice president of the senior class, Ben McGuigan and Braden Waldy. Both have aspirations to go to college and have been a great asset for the town. I want to thank them for their service. So
Great. I had a couple questions. Do you know what the topic of the Green Mountain and Finger Lake National Forest public meeting?
no,
Okay.
I don't. I looked around. I looked on their website. They booked the room with us. They said they wanted to be able to have
Okay.
40 to 60 people, but I
No idea what it's for.
no idea.
Also, were we able to, sell? Oh, okay.
So the Learn More is about a project related to Northern Escarpment Ecological Restoration and Fire Resilience Project pursuant to the National Environmental Policy Act. And it's going to specifically apply to the Middlebury Ranger District in the towns of Leicester, Middlebury, and Salisbury.
All right then. Thank you.
Yes.
Were we able to sell the tickets on StubHub?
No, but we were able to get credit from the Boston Celtics for a future trip, prepaying a future trip.
Any other questions for Bill Moore on his report? Questions from the public for Mr. Moore? None heard. Going to be a short meeting. We are now at item 7, which is public comment and participation. What I miss? Oh, yeah. I missed number 6. There we go. Yeah, this is a hot item on the agenda, for God's sake. Yeah, that's why I wanted to skip it. Okay, to consider, item 6, consider whether to place a capital/paving appropriation article on the town meeting ballot as we had last year. I will let Mr. Hopkins maybe tell us what.
So essentially, this was brought before the board at a previous meeting and no decision was made. So to be tax neutral, the board could choose to place a $50,000 article on the agenda if it wanted to pay for some of the next season's paving project that way. So if we are going to in fact pave or resurface the paved portion of Wheeler Road, that's going to be a big chunk of money because of the distance. And so $50,000 would be what would be applied to it, and it would be $50,000 less needed from other sources like the 1% fund. If the select board chooses not to place the article on the warrant on the ballot, or if the voters reject it, that would result in a $50,000 cut in the amount to be raised by taxes, but separate from the operating budget. So it would be $50,000 less collected in taxes for capital stuff. Does that clarify
That
the
clarifies.
nature of it? Yeah.
And at the last meeting, we did have a motion on this and we had it for a vote. And I personally wimped out and did not want to take sides. The vote was 2-2, which meant I was the tying vote. And so I guess I want to be the first one to speak on this. And that is that my thoughts on this strongly are, if we have an appropriation for paving and we name a street, which I know that there's parts of Union that need paving, and Carver and Wheeler. If we wanted to have an appropriation and we did it and used the word paving and not capital, and we named a street, I would vote for it. If it's to be for capital only, I know I will vote no. So I don't know what other board member might want to say anything, or if any board member wants to make a motion, or
just to restate, so I'm understanding, you're saying if the article is $50,000 for the purpose of paving Wheeler Road.
If it was 50,000 for any of those three roads, I mean, 50,000 would hardly, start most of those roads. So we're going to have to use a lot of 1% money too. But if it bolsters some of that, I believe our estimate on Wheeler Road was, well, we're getting close to 300, 280 or 290. So 50,000 is a very small part of it. But I do not mind an appropriation if it has the defined use right in it, and then it has to be followed. But to just say it's going to go into the capital fund when we have the local options tax, I'm, as having thought of this since I wimped out the last time, that this is my stance. So it's whatever anybody else feels.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about this a lot, and it's interesting is that just communicating with Seth earlier in the week about how some towns that are like significantly raising their taxes, but are doing so because they're doing like specific capital appropriations within their operating budget, and that's just the way they've been doing it, and and that makes sense. That my understanding is that, so we're talking about Bristol. My understanding is that they don't have the local option tax though. And so we've been talking for a few years about how we needed a capital plan, and we've got the capital plan. But in terms of a capital fund separate from the local option tax fund, I'm still unclear how that works in terms of necessity, whether that's something we actually need. So I guess I'm kind of like Doug. It's like, if we're talking about an appropriation for paving, that's one thing. But otherwise, it seems weird to have both the local option tax, which is for capital stuff, and a separate capital fund that we're asking for money to put into that. So, and then don't we also already have some paving in the operating budget? No, we don't. Okay.
No.
I should know this. It's like I've been at all the meetings.
Never makes it past the first.
Right. So, I do know that $50,000 would not pave anything. But it would be a chunk of something that needs to be paved, and it would be tax neutral, so it wouldn't be raising any taxes. So I guess I'm with Doug that I don't have a problem with putting an appropriation for paving on the ballot and letting the voters decide what they want, whether they want it. But I do see some sort of cognitive dissonance in having both the local option tax and capital appropriations.
Anyone else, or would anyone like to make a motion to?
I'm all for paving our roads, but I think paving is a maintenance thing that belongs in the budget. I don't see it being an appropriation. Me, an appropriation is for senior center or other community stuff that we do. That's not, I really like to see us do something on getting paving in the budget. If we start with 20,000, I'd like to start somewhere and get something in the budget for paving.
When we started, excuse me, when we started the 1%, a lot of that money was supposed to go to paving.
Correct.
And I'm not a fan of the appropriations. And I think our 1% fund is pretty good. And I'd like to see us use that for the paving.
And responding to Ralph, I agree with you about putting something in the budget if it's going to be in the budget. And I think that next year would be a year that if we wanted to make that move, because next year we make our final payment on one of those big bond payments, and so we will have a reduction in the budget next year anyway because of the bond payment, and you could put paving in where we all believe it should be, but it's been out for a number of years.
Oh, what, 10 years?
Yeah, but I do think everyone kind of feels that paving is a number, there should be something in the budget for paving along with our 1% money, and it's not, it's not separate, so. Seth,
Could I just offer, I said this to one of the board members, and I think it's worth saying to the whole board and to the public. There's no wrong answer here. Like, Brandon's in a very good position as far as its capital resources, right? So you could responsibly say, I don't want to ask for this appropriation. And basically it just means you're going to, if you want to complete that Wheeler Road project, you're going to need to use a lot. You're going to need to make it all happen from the 1% fund. It's possible. It's just going to like cut it down to, not a great reserve for a couple of quarters. You could also say, on the other hand, I want to keep that 1% fund available because sometimes, as we noticed a year ago, November, right? Sometimes we are in a little bit of an emergency with a failure of equipment before snow plowing season, right? And we needed to come up with money to buy a piece of equipment in short order. And you might not want to leave the 1% fund right down to bare bones. You might want to make sure that there's something in there. So you do also have the fund balance. The fund balance itself is available to you. And I just want to, I report to you, it's the last line in my report every 2 weeks. The capital fund balance right now is $70,500. I expect Wednesday there'll be another 5,200 added to that from the cruiser that's being picked up, kind of thing. So you get about $76,000 in the capital fund. You authorized us to solicit bids for a cruiser. So if you spend that, that's basically what a cruiser is probably going to cost. Or if you don't go ahead with a cruiser, you could use that 70,000 or some portion of it toward the Wheeler Road paving. So there's lots of possibilities, and they're all good possibilities. None of them is borrowing any money at interest. It's all because you've been responsible, and the town's got good resources lined up to make things happen. It's just a question of what you think is the most prudent.
yeah, this decision is really just whether we want to have an appropriation or not. It does not mean we're not doing paving. We know we're going to do some paving on Stone Mill Dam, Road, Bridge, and Ride-Lawn Acres entryway. And then we clearly don't know if we're going to get Class 2 road money, which if we do, we have some roads there to be done. And then we do have parts of Carver and parts of Union that could be done instead of doing Wheeler. I mean, Wheeler's just a big ticket item if we go end to end.
Wheeler's a big ticket item because of the length, and it's always going to be on the town. The town's never going to qualify for a grant from the state because it's a Class 3 road, not a Class 2
Right.
road.
Union Street is the same, isn't it? Union Street is a 2. So if we got some Class 2, Carver Street, if we have to do that lower end of Carver, though, that's a 3, and we would do that. So there's still paving decisions that can be made. The only decision is whether we have an appropriation or not.
Plus, we should get 2 more quarters of 1% money before we would spend it. So
Yep.
that should be another 100 and a quarter, maybe.
Yeah, as I say, that just depends how we want to go. Did I see Jan add your hand?
Have you revised those estimates at all since the fuel cost and everything has come down? I would say paving supplies and that price may have come down at all.
No, those are based on 2 summers ago numbers. Last summer we did Town Farm Road, right? Yeah. So those are based on the quotes we got at the time when they were deciding whether to do Town Farm Road or Wheeler Road last year. They've not been updated.
So you would go out to bid.
Yep.
When you decide to do it.
Yep. And I think
And the cost might
I think
be
the
down.
Town Farm Road bid, I think you might remember, I think there was like $100 of difference or something
Right.
on a $150,000 job. I mean,
Right.
these pencils were very sharp in terms of what the job was going to cost.
Thanks.
Does the board member want to make a motion whether to do an appropriation or to not do an appropriation?
To say I voted for the appropriation when let's talk about it because I also believe that paving should be in the budget. 100% with on that. I'm pretty agnostic about appropriations. If the voters want to vote on it, I'm happy to let them. But in this case, I just don't really see the need for it as a separate item. I voted for it. I would have been fine with it, but I don't. I'm not pressed about it one way or the other.
Seems like that's the general consensus, is that we would. Not sure we need it.
In which case I don't think.
Okay. So we're not voting, and that means it's not an appropriation this year because you have to have it ready. Moving on, all good with that? Board members, all good with that? Okay. Now we're moving on to item 7, public comment. Yeah, I could have gone to the public comment, but I skipped that before. Public comment on any item not on the agenda. This could be a first. Huh?
Never.
None heard? None heard? We do have an executive session this evening, so I'm going to call for a 5-minute reset.
Did Representative Nielsen want to speak
He,
to the board?
we spoken, we thought next meeting.
Okay. Oh, okay, great.
Okay, 5-minute recess. Thank you all for coming to the board meeting.
Dude.
Are you going to tell me what this executive session is about?
Mr. Chair, I'll move that we go into executive session for 1 VSA sub 313A3, appointment or evaluation of a public officer to include the town management staff.
I'll second that.
All in favor of entering executive session, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No one. Not executive session?
Yeah, that's one of the new open meeting changes.
Okay.
Hold on one sec.
I move that we come out of executive session with no action taken.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No one?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
7:53, we are adjourned. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.